Steezy Stokes, you are known for your YouTube music. You have some originals like New Belgium, where you do a bunch of rap, but you also have a bunch of vocal covers from quite a range of stuff. I saw, Emerosa and Johnny Craig, but I've also seen like Train and Alicia Cara and some other stuff. So you have a wide range of musical abilities and interests. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate you here.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. So, what got you into music in the first place?
So this it roots back to when I was a kid, honestly. My dad was always into music. He was in bands in high school. He was in drumline as well. He would go to karaoke shows uh all of the time. Like when my older brother was born, he went to karaoke to celebrate. When I was born, he went to karaoke to celebrate. Um and then as we got older, he would take us with him to these karaoke shows. And we were on stages before we could even sing or talk. And it just escalated from there. And as we got older, we continued going to karaoke with him. And eventually my brother and I have a brother named Braden. And we both just started singing like that. And then I was in choir throughout middle school and high school. So that played a huge part as well. But I mean, my dad was a huge inspiration on why I got into music.
Yeah. Okay, so you've been doing this for quite some time, ever since you were a wee child, it sounds like. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because I always ask people, like, how did they get into the instrument that they play, or how did they get into singing? But it sounds like you just kind of really came out the gate swinging, and you were just always surrounded by that from, sounds like the moment you were born. So that's really, really cool.
Oh yeah.
What was it like, developing and learning your voice? Because, as I mentioned, some people, they're like, it took time and, it was a lot of diligent practice, but this just seems like it was something that you did growing up and without too much of a second thought for it.
It did take time to
Okay.
develop my voice and find it, and I'm still not all the way confident with where it's at right now per se. There are some things that I can do and some things that I struggle doing still. Uh, and just I don't know, finding your voice is way more difficult than it seems. And like you would think it would be easy because it's your voice, but and the voice is a muscle, so like the more you use it, the better you're gonna be. Um, and with that being said, I'm still uh, there have been things in my life that have messed my voice up, like picking up cigarettes at a young age and things of that nature. That definitely affects it. So while there are some there's some genres that I can do, and there's songs and shit that I can't do.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm still trying to find what I can and can't do and what I'm comfortable with.
Okay.
So
I mean, I
if that
think
answers your
no,
question.
it absolutely does. Yeah, I think finding your voice is really interesting because I've been singing too. To date myself, I'm 31 years old, and I learned how to sing in like early high school. So let's say 14, 15. So it's been a minute, but like you said, as you at the beginning, I sounded terrible. I spent years, long time, years, just to get to the point where I sounded okay. And then I spent years again to the point where I sound decent and just a little bit better than okay. And it's this continued iterative journey. And my, at least for me, my thoughts of myself, like, as I get better at singing, I also change where the goalposts of what I think good are. So I'm constantly striving to get better. So I always feel like I'm not quite there yet, despite the fact that I've improved immensely over the past decade or so. So it's a journey, right?
Again, that's kind of how I feel about me whenever I sing. Like I've worked so hard to get to where I'm at now, and like I still continually surprise myself with some of the songs that I can sing. And like when I did the Emerosa, the Passion Stay Dead cover, I did not think I was going to be able to do it. I really did not think I was going to be able to do it because Johnny's voice is just so versatile and
It's
like his range is
insane.
crazy,
Yes.
insane. And especially coming from someone who's opened shows for him, like with me and my brother, and like did a song with him too. So it's crazy. Um, just to try and fit the same vibe that he had on that song. And I also didn't think that that cover was going to get any attention, but it's my most viewed video. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like,
I mean,
I'm
honestly,
still,
yeah, that cover, which I can
wow.
link in the description down below, that's the reason I found you. So for those listening, I did one of those shot in the dark type of things. I was like, this person has this really cool cover and they have contact information. Let's reach out across the internet to a complete stranger and see if they're interested in being on a podcast. Turns out the answer is yes. But no, like I listened
Yes.
to that video. You have pipes. That is a really fucking hard song to do. Just the vocal range of that song, the intensity, the way that he kind of mixes the words and rhythms together, it's a lot. It's fast paced, and you did it excellently. Nice job.
I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
So speaking of vocal styles, you mentioned like, there's some that work well for you and some that doesn't work well. At least for me, like I love like pop punk and like gritty and screamy vocals. So think like A Day to Remember, some parts of Sleeping with Sirens, 3 Days Grace. My voice does not really do that well. I can sing a lot more of like We the Kings or All Time Low or Paramore, a lot more clean stuff. So how did you bridge the gap between the things you like to sing versus the things that your voice allows you to sing?
Dude, that's a good question, actually. I
Yeah.
don't think I've, oh man, because I do sing a lot of stuff, but there are still like, you mentioned Sleeping with Sirens. If I try to do any of Kellen Quinn's vocals,
It's stupid. It's so high. Girls
blowout,
sing lower than he does.
blowout. I know, and it's crazy because the first time I heard him, I thought it was a girl, and
Yeah.
then my brother told me he's like, "No, that's a guy," and I was like, "What?
You're like, hold up.
That's
Wait a second.
insane."
Yeah.
But I love stuff like that, and I don't think I've, man, I don't know if I've really bridged the gap just yet. There's still big space in what I can and can't do, and I don't know, man.
I mean, it's part of that journey that we talked about earlier, right? You set a goal for yourself. It's You're not quite there yet, but hopefully with, diligent practice and moving to that space, you can get there and you can figure out the style. Like I listened to 3 Days Grace a bunch. I tried to do a karaoke, various songs to 3 Days Grace. It does not sound the same. It's not even close. But like I can hit the vocal range. That's not the problem, but there's just like the tonality and grit that I'm missing that really, at least in my mind, makes those vocals just so punchy and powerful.
Yeah, you try to match the vibe and stuff, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you're doing a cover, there's nothing wrong with like making it your own. You don't have to do it
Yeah.
the exact same way that the artist does it.
Mhm.
And I've learned that doing the covers that I do. Because I've done a, I'm pretty sure if I'm not mistaken, I've done a 3 Days Grace cover. I think I did Never Too
You
Late.
sure did. I listened to it this
Um,
morning.
Now, while it's probably not my best cover, I do love that one though.
Mhm.
And I mean, I tried to match the vibe as well. I kind of did what I did, and how it came out was how it came out. Um, but it it's a good one. And I mean, speaking of 3 Days Grace, I guess they got back with their original vocalist,
Really?
Adam.
Okay.
So that's, yeah,
That's
they're
cool.
about to go on tour.
Good for them. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, man, I'm psyched for that.
I feel like a lot of, again, to date ourselves, like I'm 31, so a lot of my musical influences are from like the late 2000s, early 2010s. But I feel like a lot of the bands that I'm assuming you and I listen to are starting to make a comeback. Like you just mentioned, 3 Days Grace. I think Yellow Card, they stopped officially making music, but then they just made a couple of covers for Disney. They did like I don't know, Disney Goes Pop or something like that. We the Kings
I
is starting to
saw
play
that.
again. I'm like, wait a second,
I
hold on.
saw
Is there
that.
a revival here? What's going on? Um, could
Hmm.
not be more stoked if
And
there is.
Bloodhound Gang is
Oh,
apparently having a reunion too. So I was like,
what?
what is going
Oh, it's the
on, man?
2000s all over again. It's crazy.
I'm saying this fucking man.
So speaking about bands, who are some of your musical influences? What do you like?
Oh man. All right. So from when I was growing up with my dad,
Yeah.
it ranged from Richard Marx, Kenny Loggins, Journey,
Yeah.
Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, Van Halen.
Okay.
Um,
Classic from
and
the
then
80s, yeah.
from my mom, she was the one that got me into hip hop and stuff. So uh, Bone Thugs, NWA, Eminem, um, 50 Cent, uh, and then my favorite rapper is Tech Nine. That's why I'm wearing the strange music hat here. Um, so he's a huge influence on the way that I rap and all that. You can't tell listening to New Belgium, but I do that chopper flow stuff too, man. Like
It's fun,
New
yeah.
Belgium was just one of them ones that I had to try. But
Okay.
I do the fast rap stuff a lot.
Mhm.
I'm trying to ease up on it because while it is fun, I know some people probably get tired of me doing that. But
For
yeah,
what it's worth,
that's
I enjoy it. I also listened to New Belgium this morning. Happy to go into the details for that, but like you have bars. The flow of that song is really good. Lyrically, it's tricky. There's a lot of rhythm and it's fast to it. So props to you.
oh yeah. And my producer who made that beat is actually getting married.
Ah, cool.
And that's my brother is in Texas right now for that wedding.
Okay.
What's up, Barry? Love you, man. Congrats.
That's awesome.
But yeah, he he sent me the beat. I want to say a year or two ago, and I had it sitting around, and because I didn't think I was going to be able to do anything with it, and then the song came about because I don't know how to drive, man. I don't have a license. I don't have a car.
Sure.
I ride a bike everywhere I go, man.
Good for
So,
you. Yeah.
um, and where I live, in Colorado, there's a brewery out here called New Belgium Brewery, and their logo is a bicycle. So my brother came to me
Ah.
with the idea. He was like, "You need to write a song about how you don't know how to drive and how you ride a bike everywhere." And
Okay.
then New Belgium was born that way.
Okay. I like it.
So
Yeah, because
that's how that came about.
I can't remember the exact lyrics to it, but it describes that bike, and then you rhymed it with New Belgium. I'm like, oh, okay. I wonder, where this all came from, what that stemmed from. But that's awesome.
Yeah, and that bike is in my backyard right now.
That's really cool. I appreciate that. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, listening to your story and your influences, I can. Sorry, let me take a step back. After telling me about your dad and the songs and bands that they listen to, and your mom, I can kind of see the blend of genres and how you form the musical taste that you have today. So that's really really awesome. So
Yeah, man.
you mentioned rapping. Are you familiar with Harry Mack? They're really big on YouTube and TikTok and all that stuff. The freestyling,
I am. I am. I've heard quite a few
fantastic.
of his freestyles actually.
It is, for those who are unaware, he's a freestyle rapper. His claim to fame is a bunch of, I think it was Omegle back when that was still around. But he
Yeah,
goes
chat
on,
roulette,
yeah, Chat Roulette and
all that.
Omegle, and he's like, hey, pick 5 random words, completely random. They don't have to be related at all. And then he works it into a freestyle rap. And it's disgusting how good he is at just making stuff up on the fly. There was a video that he is talking about the art of rapping and he's rapping to doing it. So he's talking about, like triplets and flow and how to work in different concepts and callbacks and A phrases and B phrases and working all of this stuff together as he's rapping in real time, describing these concepts. It is wild.
He's insane with it, man. He's so good. Dude almost makes me want to quit.
Feels that way, doesn't it?
I'm just like, how do I get on this guy's level? Because like I've been doing this for a while and I'm nowhere near as tuned in or like skilled as that guy. Because
I mean,
hands down, just
it's just
gotta
one
give
of
it
those
up.
things about the internet, right? You're just aware of so many more people, and the bar of excellence is just so damn high. Like, I've been playing guitar for a while since I was 14, so it's been about, I don't know, 17 years. And then you pull up some random video of a 6-year-old Asian kid has been playing guitar for 2 years and is just infinitely better than you.
We'll just rip it.
Yeah, it
Yeah, they're sitting
humbles
there
you.
ripping on like some Polyphia covers and stuff, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, what
You're
is
like, "Oh, cool. What have
how?
I been doing?" Yeah, I've been playing for like 3x your lifetime, and yet, yeah.
Man.
Okay. So what kind of rap influences do you have? We talked about Harry Mack. You mentioned Tech Nine.
Yeah, so Tech, um, I would say Eminem.
Classic.
Definitely early day Eminem.
Yeah, yeah.
Not that's not to say that he's not good now, because just like Tech Nine, man gets better with time. All right. So Eminem, Tech, Dizzy Wright,
Okay.
and then one that's this guy isn't famous, but he's one of my best friends. My boy Joe Henry, aka Dugan, aka Phono Sapien. He's one of my biggest influences. He pushes me to do better. He pushes me to write better. Same with um, my brother Brandon, aka Innocent Fortune. That's another big influence on me. His writing is pretty crazy too. Uh, he can sing his ass off as well. He him being my brother, I don't mean that as in like a friend that I've known for years. Like, this is my blood brother. We damn near look the same mom, same dad, all that. So I mean, obviously, he's a huge influence in my life, um, and the way I make my music. Uh, who else? Off the top of my head, Kasky. There's a rapper named Kasky that I really look up to. Not only as an artist, but also as a person. Who else? And I'm trying to think here.
No, you're good. No
It's
worries.
crazy. There's a lot of rappers that I could like list off and shit, man. I don't
Sure.
know.
Yeah, completely fine. Out of curiosity, so you talked a little bit about like the artistry that they do, but also the values that they have as a human being. What about these people inspires you so much?
So with Joe, I mean, Joe has been he produces his own beats. He writes all of his own lyrics. He's got a duo with his buddy Nick Sandville called Iron Team. Um, I mean, he's just the dedication that I've seen in him over the 5, 6 years that I've known him since I moved out here. Um, is crazy. And he's been making his own beats since he was a little kid, like probably 10, 12, something like that. But he's been doing it for a while now, and I just see him get better every day. I mean, he pushes me to do better. We're working on stuff together as well. So, and when I'm in the studio with him, I can like just I don't know what it is, but working with him brings out a total different monster than like
Yeah.
if I'm with my brother. And that's not to say my brother doesn't push me in the same way, because he does, but it's two different vibes there. I don't know what it is, but they both bring out something different in me.
Yeah. I love hearing that because at least for me, like, yeah, we can talk about like big famous people all day and the inspirations that they have, but a lot of the impacts that I feel in my daily life come directly from my circle of friends. Like some of the, arts and crafts and projects that I'm most proud of come out of people that I personally know because I can firsthand see how fucking hard it is and how much work and dedication and effort that they put into this thing. And they'll try for years before seeing any real success and just kind of pushing through in that darkness, not knowing how things are going to turn out. There's something really inspiring about that. So I can imagine things are similar with your brother and your friend.
Oh yeah, man. And they always say it takes what 10,000 hours to really hone your craft, and you got
Yeah.
to steadily put that work in.
Yeah.
And that's what Joe has done, and my brother has been trying to do the same, you know. So, and the same with me.
What's that journey of artistry been like for you? Well, how have you developed over the years, and what were some memorable milestones that you've experienced in your journey up to this point?
Oh man. I've I've been putting out music since 2015, 2015, 2016, like when I was fresh out of high school. Um, and the journey has been, uh, I want to say it's been good to me, you know. I've definitely grown a lot since, in my art, I've grown a lot since 2015. Um, you know, I would, obviously still being a kid, still being young, I was rapping about a whole bunch of stupid shit, partying,
As we do.
uh, just, yeah, as youngsters do. Um, I was surrounded by so much dumb shit. I just rapped about the dumb shit that I was around, and it's gotten better in a sense that I'm not as repetitive anymore. Um, like I've been through a little fair share of like little hip hop beefs here and there and stuff. The other song that I have on my YouTube channel, "False Alarm," kind of that was a part of that beef shit. But
Sure.
that was a fun time. But a milestone. There's been a few milestones, man. I've opened for some of my favorite artists. Thanks to my brother who got us into these damn shows. But we've opened for people like Kasky. We've opened for Nappy Roots. That was like one of the first shows we did when we moved out here to Colorado.
Yeah.
And that was crazy.
Okay.
We opened up for them. We've opened up for Johnny Craig. That was a fun one.
That's awesome.
And we brought him out during our set before his set was even supposed to start, which never happens.
That never
Just so we
happens.
could do
Yeah.
ours. Never happens, man. But that was just so we could do our song that we had together and shit. And like, he gave me props on my singing. So like,
Feels good.
yeah, man. I was like, as somebody who's been listening to him since I was like a kid, and to get a compliment from him,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, that
Yeah.
shit. That was an ego boost that I did not need.
We all need one of those every now and then.
Every now and then, but my ego was already inflated, and when he did that, it was like things like that made me love doing what I do, and it shows me that I'm doing something right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So those are some of the big milestones, and there's a lot of like quite literally on stage, like, hey, look at me, public eye sort of things. What were some of the smaller internal ones? Like the moment you first felt confident in your songwriting, or like you wrote a lyric and you're like, oh wow, I've come a long way. That's really cool. Do you have any moments like that?
I mean, a big moment and how I knew I came a long way in my writing was when I wrote New Belgium. Actually, that song alone is a huge milestone to me because I've never really like I have deep songs. You have a song called "Wait" um, from the Steezy Stokes EP that my brother and I did together, and it goes into a whole bunch of deep stuff like our grandpa having cancer,
Sure.
our dad having cancer, and uh, all that stuff,
Yeah.
and failed relationships, um, things of that nature. And then New Belgium was also a little personal. While it is a fun song, it's still personal to me because, dude, I'm riding a bike everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
And like, if you relate to it, cool, man.
Yeah.
Like, if you're listening to it to have fun, that's fine too. I make it for both of those reasons. But no, New Belgium alone was a huge milestone because I went in a territory in my writing that I've never gone, and I was just letting people know, hey, man, I ride a bike. I don't have a car.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I just keeping it 100% real and being myself all of the time in my music is where I'm headed.
Yeah.
So, and that's a good start right there.
I think that's great. I mean, I think there's something empowering about owning who you are and how you choose to live your life and the things that you do. Because the moment you do that, like, one, people can't make fun of you anymore. Like, you own it. This is out there. You're comfortable with it, and people just need to respect that. But two, like, by putting yourself out in the world, it helps you find the others, right? It helps kind of attract other people like you, people that can relate, people that can understand. And by putting that out in the world, they have something that they can connect over. I think that's great. So you mentioned some of like the darker topics, the cancer with your dad and your grandpa, but you also mentioned some of the lifestyle topics, like your bike and how you choose to live that lifestyle. How do you go about picking the topics for your songs? Is it just about how you're feeling at the moment, or are you trying to craft a specific set of emotions in the EPs that you make?
No, it is 100% about how I'm feeling at that time.
Okay.
Um, I go through, I pick a beat, and if the beat matches the emotion that I'm feeling right there, I'll try to write something to it.
Mhm.
Uh, Sometimes it's easier than most times. I do tend to get writer's block a lot,
Yeah, we all do.
especially lately. But how I try to push past that and find ways around it. Um, I watch interviews to get inspired, listen to other artists that inspire me, and hopefully something strikes with me. But I do, it's 100% the emotion that I'm feeling at that time. Um, so I don't think like the way that I write, there's really no way for me to go in and be like, all right, I'm gonna make this type of song.
Yeah.
Like as badly as I would like that to happen, one day I'm sure I'll probably be there. But
Yeah.
as of right now, it's 100% all just my thoughts, my feelings, and all that type of stuff, things that I've gone through.
What's that songwriting and creative process like for you? Do you just wait until the muse shows up, or do you sit down and be like, "I'm gonna work today," and if the muse shows up, great. If not, I'm still gonna do the thing. Like, what's the balance for you?
So I mean, it's it's a little all over the place, man.
Yeah.
Some days I do sit down and I'm like, I'm gonna work on some shit today.
Yeah.
Or I still have songs that have been sitting around for a while that I haven't finished. Because I'm kind of a procrastinator, like a lot of us are. Um, not to call anybody out, but I'll sit down and be like, I want to work on this today, and I'll get stuck. Or sometimes I will just have to wait for something to happen to me, to give me something to write about, whether that be good or bad. Um, or yeah, I'll sit down and try to tap into the emotion that I had while I was writing the song the first time.
Mhm.
Which I wouldn't recommend that for everybody,
Yeah.
because it is easy to get stuck in a mental state, whether it be bad or good. Now, if it's a good mental state, go for it. Do it. Do it all you want to. If you're trying to tap into like some sad, depressive shit, do that at your own risk. Because that can fuck with you in the long run. Um, I can say from personal experience.
I think at least for me, the most powerful creative sessions I've had is always post breakup. Like, you're dating someone for X number of time, you break up, you go through some shit. I feel like, as a general statement, the most growth that I experienced in my life, as a general statement, is post breakup. Like the 6 months right after, you're like, I got to turn my shit around. I'm going to reform my life. I'm going to have good habits. And then also creatively, you have so much more to work with. There's a lot of raw feelings and emotions that come with that, and it comes through in your writing and the music and the emotions and the styles and all of that. um Sounds like you can relate.
Oh, definitely, man, definitely. I wrote one of my best verses ever in coming out of a breakup, and it was all about that failed relationship, man. I have another song that I'm working on that's kind of a continuation of our song "Wait," but it's about a failed relationship. And I showed one of my friends, and they're like, "Who's this one about?" And I was like, "It's not about anybody in particular. It's a mix between relationships that I've. It's a mix of relationships that I've been through."
Yeah.
So, well, some people may think it's about them, and they could be right. It's not about one person in particular, but
Yeah.
it's about multiple.
Yeah.
So, I mean, writing at your most vulnerable times can really bring something out of you. And sometimes it's something that you probably haven't even uh, noticed about yourself. And that's the beauty of going through shit like that. Like, yeah, it sucks, it's bad. Uh, but if you can get creative with it, man, there's always a bright side to it. Especially
Speaking
if you can get all those feelings out.
Yeah, but speaking of like the feeling things and getting things out, you're not consciously aware of it. Like post breakup in that time period, I would have like writing sessions to where I would just kind of write lyrics, just stream of consciousness. They're real garbage. It's not refined. You just kind of write and write and write. And I'll look back at it 3 weeks later. I'm like, I have no idea where this came from. It's on my notepad. Clearly, I wrote it, but I can't remember any of this. I don't even know where the inspiration came from. But it's there, so now you have new material to work with. What does your writing sessions look like? Are there any lyrics or phrases or concepts that you kind of gravitate to, or how do you go about it?
For the most part, when I'm trying to come up with a concept for a song, um, back in the day, I mean, when I first started, or even like 3, 4 years ago, it wouldn't even be like a super deep concept or anything like that. It would just be like me hopping on a beat and talking shit pretty much.
There you go.
Like just the braggadocious stuff and I'm better than this rapper and like you're not touching me and
It's
that
very on brand for the
that just
genre.
exactly. But like it got too repetitive. So I had to mix it up and start trying to um you know, I found myself in relationships where it was some one-sided shit and then that would turn into a song. A lot of my stuff has been kind of based on relationships, honestly, man.
Okay.
Like here lately, anyway.
Yeah.
Um, I can finally say that I've started writing a song about a relationship that's actually positive. So
That's good.
that's a plus. I've
Yeah.
never been able to do that.
Yeah. Congrats to
So
you.
I'm
It's a
proud of
nice
myself
change of
for that.
pace. Yeah.
Um, but as far as me coming up with a concept, it's just pretty much uh what have I gone through? Or uh as I said before, my buddy Joe and I are working on some stuff together, and we have a few songs on this project where we took some old stuff that we grew up listening to, and we sampled it and flipped it into something new. Like we have
Huh.
a whole remix where we took the beat to "So Fresh, So Clean" by Outkast, and we flipped that, and like we kept the same concept. Like we're talking about clothes and stuff, but the beat's a little different and all that, and we kept the hook the same just
Okay.
because it's a classic. You don't want
Right,
to dick
right.
with it too much. And then we took TLC's "No Scrubs" and we sampled that. We're still trying to figure out what the hell we want to do with that, but it's gonna be the concept is like he and I are he and I are juggalos actually. I grew up in middle school listening to ICP a lot. Now I don't listen to them as much as I used to,
Sure.
and I don't listen to their new stuff, but
Okay.
I will go back and dive into some of their older stuff. And he's the same. We bonded over that, so that's going to be about how like I guess we're scrubs, man. We're broke most of the time. So we rap about he and he's a rap nerd too. So the concepts he comes up with are crazy, and
Yeah.
I really wish I could come up with some of the concepts that that
Okay.
guy came up with because man, he has a song where him and his friend Nick are rapping about like how they they're like cavemen and they discover fire, bro. And like but the fire is just a metaphor for music and it's so dope to me that I'm just like, why didn't I think of that? But man, it's crazy shit like that. And we have another song called Been Done where the concept is we're rapping about how everything's been said and everything's been done. Like there's hardly any originality anymore. So um, when it comes to coming up with concepts, I'm not always good at doing that by myself. So working with people like Joe or my brother, that really helps bring out the lyrical genius.
Yeah. I mean, no one really works in isolation, right? There's always inspiration from other people, whether it's, idols that you look up to from afar or people in your close circle. It's really important to have those influences in your life, just kind of make you a little bit better, broaden your horizons, cover your blind spots, and give you inspiration for all that. It sounds like that kind of funny rap. It reminds me of like Lil Dicky a little bit, to where you like have these outrageous concepts and you try to build up from there and just kind of make a song about it. It's cool.
It is they have some pretty funny stuff, but they definitely do take this seriously though
Of
too.
course.
So I mean,
Yeah. The
well, I
concepts
do
may
love
be
Little
fun.
Dicky.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the concepts are great though, and it's like they take a lot of inspiration from like Brother Ali and Atmosphere and a whole bunch of people from Rhyme Sayers, man. Like Murs is a huge inspiration on my boy Joe. So I mean, like the storytelling and his music could be compared to like the storytelling in Murs's music. So people like that.
How do you find the balance in your musical interests between like they're not opposites, but like on one side you have like very strong vocal stuff. So think Johnny Craig, Emarosa, which is at one point headed by Johnny Craig and all that kind of stuff. But on the other you have
Yes,
rap, and I know that they're not different worlds, but I feel like it requires very different skill sets, very different means of creativity, and methods and techniques. How do you balance all this?
To be honest with you, I'm still trying to find a balance between the two.
Okay.
Because if you go into my early discography and even some of the Staying Stokes stuff from a few years back, which you won't find those on YouTube or anything like that. Those are on SoundCloud. We used to be on Spotify, but we need to pay our distribution. Um, but I'm still trying to find the balance between the singing and the rapping. So a lot of my old stuff is just straight rapping, and it's been like that for some years now.
Hmm.
I want to say the first song that I really tried to find a balance between the singing and the rapping was our
Yeah.
song "Wait,"
Okay.
and the original version is me singing the hook, and then once we get our stuff back on Spotify, we'll have the version with Johnny Craig back out. But we did the remix with Johnny because I didn't feel super confident in the way that I sang the hook. So we sent it off to him and we told him, "Hey, do a hook if you want to. Like you can change the lyrics,"
Yeah.
but he didn't change any of the lyrics that I wrote. He sung 100% the hook that me and my brother wrote. So that was cool. And then here recently, thanks to the covers that I've been posting, I've had a few bands and other people hit me up wanting me to work with them. And while I'm not opposed to that, I'm trying to focus on my own music right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have a few songs that I'm working on where I am trying to balance the singing and the rapping. And then there's one that's just like a straight rock song that I'm just singing on. So
Okay.
we're gonna see how that plays out. I I'm
Hey,
still trying to work on that, but
I'm excited to hear it because whenever I think of like balancing singing and rapping, I'll name an obscure band and then a famous one. But like, there's a band that I listen to called Backwards, WORDZ, Backwards, and there's a lot of like screaming pop punk, like that kind of vocals, but they also do a bunch of rap stuff to it, and it's really really cool. To name a bigger band, but not quite the same, like Linkin Park, there's a bunch of rap in there, but they also mix it with Chester's clean vocals and the screaming every now and then. So like there's a mix to this, and there's a cool balance that can be struck. I guess it really comes down to artistic freedom and creativity. Excited to hear what you make.
yeah, man, I'm excited to get it done and get it put out for everybody, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I've never done just a straight rock song before.
Okay.
Um, and it's very reminiscent to like one of Johnny's old bands, Slaves. So
Mm, yeah.
um, it's kind of in that vibe, in that realm. And uh, I'm trying to get other people on the song. I have somebody who wants to do screaming vocals, and then I had the idea of actually sending it off to Johnny to get him on another song. But
Okay.
I don't know. I might change my mind. It might just be me throughout the whole song. But
Okay.
we're gonna see how it plays out.
I guess we'll see how it plays out. Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
speaking of the YouTube stuff that you mentioned, how bands find you, what got you into YouTube in the first place? What was the motivation there?
So I actually back in the day I had another channel on YouTube where I would do covers back when I was a kid, and I missed doing that and showing people my love for music,
Yeah.
and I wanted a another channel where I could post my originals and covers. So it just kind of called my name again, and I was like, yeah, I think it's time to do this one more time and see where this takes me, see what this could be. And I mean, here we are. It's been like 2 years now since I started the channel.
And you've been posting fairly consistently. Like you just posted yesterday. So you've been doing
Yeah,
this, yeah.
I try to keep it that way, man. Like
Okay.
it's not always on like a set schedule. Like it'll be some random ass week and just like bam, I upload and people are like, what the fuck? But I try to keep people on their toes here, and I mean, I get hella suggestions to do Dance Gavin Dance from when Johnny was in the band, and I'm just like, I've covered a lot of his stuff, and I didn't want to become a Johnny Craig cover channel, but it seems that's where it's heading. And I'm just like, y'all got too much faith in me because I can't scream. And John Mess is a beast with the screaming vocals
It's
and Dance Gavin
disgusting how
Dance.
good they are, yeah. That and, now
It is
Tillian, but
disgusting.
yeah, with his clean vocals.
Nah, man. But yeah, Tillian was great. Kurt Travis was great. I mean, Tillian's not in the band anymore, and I saw them live with Falling in Reverse here recently. Because I went there to see Tech Nine and Dance Gavin Dance, but I missed Tech Nine. I got to see Dance and Falling in Reverse. It was a super dope show. Um, Falling in Reverse gained a new fan that night. Um, but I mean, just hearing those vocals live is different than sitting in the car and listening to the album. Especially with their new vocalist, Andrew. Man, he's something else. I'll tell
Yeah,
you that right now.
okay.
He's like a mix between Tillian and Johnny, dude. It's
Ooh,
insane.
okay,
So if you ever get a chance to catch one of their shows, do it
okay,
because
I
even
will
John
definitely.
sounds great. Like the band is just man.
Okay.
But yeah, they've been requesting me to do a lot of Dance Gavin Dance and then more stuff from Emarosa's Relativity album and stuff. And I'm just like,
Fantastic album, but yes.
it is a fantastic album. I'm just like, I try to throw in other songs that aren't Johnny Craig related in between, just so I'm not counting it into the ground.
No, I know what you mean. It's important to stay diverse. I mean, hell, like I saw Train Drops of Jupiter on there. Very far from Johnny Craig. So I appreciate the diversity that you're, showing on your channel. I think that's really cool. It also goes to show, the flexibility that you have as an artist to kind of be able to do each of these songs from vastly different genres and to do it justice. So that's really nice to hear.
I try, man. I try.
I
You should
am
see the ones I don't post.
I can imagine. Cause like at least for me, like YouTube is such a difficult game because I used to do vocal covers. Whoever decides to dig, oh, it's technically a separate channel. It was under Jason Sir Music, if anyone's ever curious. But I used to do
I'm gonna look into
covers.
this.
Yeah, right. Now that I put it out in the world, it's going to get some attention. But I used
Yeah.
to do covers where I would sing and I'd play guitar, and the amount of effort that went into it with honestly very low production value is really fucking hard because it's hard to learn a song. It's hard to, get it to a place to where it sounds good. You're competent and you can deliver on it nicely and people don't make fun of you, right? It's very hard to get to that area. And then to do this consistently over and over and over and to put stuff out in the world, it is so much. I back in mid 2010s, I just got overwhelmed with the amount of effort that it took, so I stopped doing it. So I appreciate and I understand the amount of work that you put into your videos, and it shows. So, how do you go about making these vocal covers on YouTube? I notice some have you, in person. You're sitting at your job in the security booth. Others, it's just, a screen with a little graphic on it. But how do you go about making these videos?
So the ones where I was in the security uniform was when I was a security guard for Hewlett Packard Enterprise.
Cool.
I no longer work there.
Sure.
I'm not a security guard anymore. So that's the reason why you don't see me on camera as much. Um, Now when I do appear on camera, I record all these covers from an app called Star Maker. It's a shitty ass karaoke app, but I make do with what I have. I don't have a fancy studio. I don't have a fancy laptop where I can sit there and do all my editing and shit like that. I go in, I pick the song that I'm feeling that day and I record it. And if it comes out good, I post it. If it doesn't, I delete it and I re-record it and I try again
Yeah.
until I get it right.
Okay.
Which that Beauty and Essex Free Nationals cover that I posted yesterday, it took me a few days to get that one sounding the way that I wanted it to, until I finally posted it. And
Now, are you doing single take covers, or are you, you're like, okay, this chorus sounds good, this verse sounds bad, let me redo the verse. What level of production are you having here?
So most of the covers that you hear are one take. Yeah.
Good for you.
Um,
It's really fucking
now
hard to do
the
that.
the I will say the Emerosa cover though, that shit took me a good 5 or 10 takes to finally get that shit down.
Mhm.
And it also took coworkers looking at me all weird as they were walking out of the office. Now the other covers like Drops in Jupiter, that was probably 2 takes. Any of the Johnny Craig covers aside from Jesus Died for You, Not Me, those were multiple takes.
Mhm.
Jesus Died for You, Not Me was one, believe it or not, and I was impressed with how I did that.
Very nice.
But just about all the covers you see are one take. But the app allows you to create duets and stuff. So if there's like harmonizing parts that I know, or if there's like a part where a verse, like say it's a rap song, like I did a Flatbush Zombies, Ask Courtney the other
Yeah.
day, and there's a part where another verse comes in while one is ending, like I'll just jump in
Okay.
and duet with myself and jump in and do it like that.
Okay.
So yeah, it gets kind of weird, but again, I make do with what I have.
Sure. Okay, so you're choosing songs that you more or less know already, and then you're going in, and then you record the thing, and it comes out well, as opposed to saying, "Hey, this song is really popular. Let me go learn this real quick, and then try to record that."
Sometimes I do learn new songs, especially if somebody suggests a certain song in the comments, and I'll look it up and see if I can find an instrumental for it, and I'll do it for them. Um, but and for the most part, it is songs that I'm familiar with, and I have a long list of that.
I'm sure there's quite the backlog of things that have been recommended to you, things you want to get to because you like it yourself. Yeah. With that in mind, like what are some of the plans for your future music career? What do you want to do or accomplish?
So as of right now, I have an album that I'm working on. I'm still in the writing process for it. But I'm hoping to have this done by summer of next year.
Okay.
By summer of next year, I'm hoping to have my this will be my first solo album too. So that's
Oh,
why I'm taking my time with this, trying to get everything lined up and get everything sounding the way that I want and have everything written the way that I want it to be. Uh, I have hella ideas that I'm throwing around. I also have that uh, mixtape that uh, my boy Joe and I are working on. There's no there's no really set release date for that either. Because he's working on his album along
yeah.
with his stuff with I and Team and all that, so that kind of has him tied up a little bit. But we're in the works of that. I got a lot of stuff on my plate, man.
Yeah, no, it
it's
sounds like it. There's lots of projects
it's gonna
floating
be
around.
crazy. Yeah, man. I need to hit up some of these bands that have been hitting me up and let them know what's up because I've been in talks with some of those guys. I don't want them to feel like I'm like just leaving them in the dark or anything like that. I've been busy with my own stuff, trying to get this solo album done, which the album is called Weekend at Steezy's. If anybody is wondering, so that has been announced here at
Ooh.
least. Um, uh, and that idea came from it's a stupid idea, bro, but I'll let you know right now. The name for that album came about because when I get high, I look like a fucking zombie,
So
and
Weekend at Bernie's.
I look like a dead guy. So yes, you get the reference. You get the reference. Thank you.
Okay. I'm
I was
intrigued.
like, no
That
one's
sounds
gonna
great.
get this.
There are dozens
So
of
it's
us,
gonna be
don't
a
you worry.
mix. It's gonna be a mix of vibes in this album. I have plans for this album, and I hope that people enjoy it at least. But it's gonna have the typical party shit. I am gonna have some deep cuts in there too. So um, you know, we'll we'll see what happens with that.
Good balance of concepts, but it really sounds like
Yeah.
2025 is going to be your year. You have a lot of, what do I call it? Irons in the fire. So you have a bunch of things going at
Uh,
once. I'm really excited to see what all that comes out to be. I think it's going to be great.
I'm excited for people to hear it, man. Seriously, I've been working hard on a lot of these songs here.
Yeah.
So,
So, a closing tradition that we have on the show is the previous guest leaves a question for the current guest, not knowing who the current guest may be. So, the question that is left for you is, what was a defining moment in your career so far that really kind of set you up for success, that you're experiencing now?
oh man, that's a good question actually too. Um, let's say a defining moment in my career so far. Well, there hasn't been any like huge career defining moments. I would say having our own headline show at a this venue called Hody's out here in Fort Collins.
Yeah.
Um, no longer exists. It's a comedy club now, but um, one of the first shows that me and my brother did was a headlining show at Hody's after we won a an open mic night. So
Congrats.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Tell me
That
more.
and probably playing the Roxy with Caskey because that was one of the biggest shows we played. It was almost goddamn near 500 people in that motherfucker too,
Wow,
actually.
that's a good show.
So that
Congrats to
was
you. That's yeah, 500's
it.
no joke.
It was a good show. Yeah, that's So things like that are what fuel the fire.
Yeah. That feels nice. I'm really glad that you had to have that experience. It's really, really awesome. Uh, so I the guest asked that question because after they, made the question, I got to ask him a little bit about it because they were saying, at least in their career, there were small moments that from the outside looking in weren't that impactful, but like a small concert in like a shithole of a bar allowed them to meet this person who then introduced them to these people who owned a record label, and it's just like this weird butterfly effect that if they weren't in that one place at that one time, the trajectory of their career would have been very different. So it's always funny to hear the stories that people have of what is their defining moment, whether it's big or small. Like defining is the impact that it has on the person. So it's really cool hearing your story. Steezy, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being on the show, hearing your insights, your creative journey, and the artistry that you give to both your music, whether it be a vocal cover, whether it be the rap that you create. I'm very excited to hear about the albums that come out next year. Uh, I cannot wait to hear more stuff about it. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thank you for having me again, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Hope to have you on again soon. Cheers.
Yes, yes, sir.